Good evening, YouTube. It's the Old Soldier coming back at you once again from Parkton, North Carolina. Been a hot day today down here. Not sure about the rest of you, but did some grass cutting today, that kind of thing. Been kind of biting my tongue, given the circumstances of this past weekend. But I've had about enough of what I'm going to tolerate with it, and I'm just going to say my piece. What happened was very tragic. Very tragic indeed. You had one shooter that was killing people because he claimed or professed that he hated them because of the color of their skin and where they came from. The other killer, it seems to have had a mental illness, disease, whatever you want to call it. And sadly, he killed him. Not only was he killed, but he killed his own sister. And I can only imagine what that family's going through. But now we've got this massive political movement starting to take place to invoke or pass stricter gun control laws. I don't know how much more stricter they can make them. Trey Gowdy said it best the other day on Fox News that the current batch of legislators, and I'm going to call them a batch because they're batchy idiots, need to examine the current laws on the books, and each state needs to examine the laws they already have in place. Find out which laws that they're enforcing and which ones they're not, before you go passing more laws, adding more red tape to an already clogged bureaucratic system. It befuddles me that the first thing they always want to do, stricter background checks. Well, how much stricter can they be? Okay. How about you pass this? How about you pass a bill that allows local law enforcement, who's going to be the one that runs these background checks, by the way, access to state and federal databases and cross-state databases, so that when they go into a system, oh, wait a minute, they already have that. So how much stricter can you make these background checks? That's what I would really, really like to know. How much stricter can you make these background checks? Then the one that got me was the representative from Texas I had a lot of respect for, who has now stepped down quite a bit. Can't even think of his name right now, but he's got one eye. Dan Crenshaw. Representative Crenshaw. Automatically said, well, we need to start looking at some red flag laws. Red flag laws. Okay. Mr. Crenshaw, I know you're a former Navy SEAL, and I have much respect and admiration for you for that. But to state what you stated was idiotic, sir. Because it's an extreme violation of the Fourth Amendment. Yeah. You're basically going to allow people to report other people who have firearms for any trivial little matter, and then law enforcement can show up and confiscate your firearms. Then you can't get them back until you go to court, and a judge makes a deliberation. And if the judge decides, because Miss Whiny Pants is pretty and he likes her, that he's going to take her side of the story, even though you've done nothing wrong, now you actually have to go to trial. And that could be 6, 7, 8 months, 10, 5, 4 years down the road. So, Mr. Crenshaw, I would highly encourage you, sir, to re-examine your statement about red flag laws and any other stupid politician that's thinking about them. Yes, it was tragic what happened, and it was tragic that they used firearms. But guess what? I never ever hear of anybody crying about, let's take away automobiles when a drunk driver kills 8, 9 people. Because now they said mass shooting. The definition of mass shooting is an individual that shoots 4 or more people in one episode or one incident. Well, what's a drunk driver that hits a van full of family? A family of 4, a family of 5, and kills all of them. What happens to them? Crickets. Yeah. Okay. What about when somebody breaks into a home with a baseball bat or a knife and butchers somebody and her whole family in their sleep? What about that? Okay. My point being this. Enacting stricter gun control laws is not the solution for all you stupid politicians. For all you Kamala Harrises and Cory Bookers and Bernie Sanders. Oh yeah, I named some names here, folks. Because y'all are using this as a political stunt. Shame on you. I get it. Y'all don't like the president. Good for you. But you're going to take this tragedy to spew that hatred? But yet you're talking about how the president is responsible for this? I don't know how he's responsible. Hell, the president even came out talking about enacting stricter red flag laws, which I don't agree with. But all you politicians need to pull your head out of your asses. Sorry, folks. I'm mad. Because it always seems to be the go-to solution every time something like this happens. But the president did address it, though, stating that there needs to be something done about mental health as well in this nation. Now, I don't have all the answers, don't have all the solutions. But I can tell you this, if there's a history of somebody that's mentally unstable, there needs to be action possibly taken against that individual. But to punish a community of lawful and law-abiding gun owners because of the actions of 2 individuals, well, then you need to start doing a whole lot more with the DMVs across the nation for every time somebody gets killed by a drunk driver. We took away their driver's license. Well, apparently they had one in their possession when you arrested them. Well, it was fake. Well, why don't you crack down on that too? Or better yet, crack down on these states that don't check other states when you go to apply for a driver's license in a new state, or they're stealing identities. Come on, let's keep the list going here. Things y'all need to be doing. Okay? How about we go after all the heroin dealers who are selling bad dope on the street, causing people to overdose? That'd be my definition of mass killing. How many people overdose every day? How many die from the overdose? How much of our taxpayer dollars do we waste on giving law enforcement officers and first responders Narcan, then they have to respond to the same person multiple times and issue that drug? Okay. My point being is we're putting money and resources into things to save lives. Okay. Fair enough. How about easing up gun restrictions so that law-abiding citizens can carry firearms constitutionally because it's a constitutional right? Because my opinion, and again it's my opinion, is that that Walmart shooting in El Paso, had more people gone in that Walmart because, see, that was supposed to be a gun-free zone. Had it been allowed for people to bring in firearms, concealed or otherwise, that person might have thought twice about going into that Walmart and shooting. Same thing with the disco or whatever it was in Ohio. Had people that were legally allowed to own firearms carry. Chances are he might not have got even one shot off. Again, my opinion. But I think my opinion is valid. My theory of the situation is valid. You see, there are 2 arguments about concealed carry and open carry. The concealed carry theory is that if you go into a place and people are carrying concealed and someone walks in, that they'll be scared to go in because somebody's carrying concealed. I really don't. I think it's situational dependent. But I think if they go in and they see somebody that's open carrying, they're going to be less likely to go in because they already see somebody with a firearm. Now, people will argue that, well, if they see that, they're going for you first. Maybe, maybe not. But I think if you see somebody that's armed, when you decide that you're going to go do something stupid, it might serve as a deterrent. And if you see a place where several people are armed, or if the state passes a law allowing constitutional open and or concealed carry, criminals might take a step back not knowing that they may walk into a place that, one individual might have a firearm, might decide to shoot back at me. You see, we all have a right to defend ourselves, our lives, the lives of our families, and our liberty, and those things that which we hold dear. And when I say things that we hold dear, our property, our possessions. Now, some states have laws enacted that if you have a viable path of retreat, you should retreat. I disagree with that. No individual should be able to come into my home and take anything that they so desire, because I have a path, therefore I have an obligation to retreat instead of stand firm and engage. Now, in the Ohio shooters situation, apparently the police were close by on hand. And usually though it's a nightclub, a lot of times police are kind of tasked to watch these places. I don't know how long it took the El Paso police to respond to the shooting there at the Walmart. But normally in most instances, when seconds matter, police are minutes away. My driveway is 700 feet from the main road. If somebody dares to come into my home, it's going to take the sheriff's department at least 25 minutes to get to my location, let alone down the driveway and into my home. And I will tell you, I will blast the first fool that tries to break into my house. Likewise, I'm at the point now in my life, everywhere I go, I carry a firearm with me. Now, there are places I go that you're not allowed to have them in the building, and I lock in my vehicle. Because why? I have a right to protect and defend myself, my family, and my possessions, and my liberty. These are all guaranteed to us in the Constitution. So, for all you worthless lawmakers out there that are contemplating these stupid laws because of two incidents that happened almost simultaneously to each other, you might want to take that document out and read it very thoroughly before you enact any type of stupid legislation, and that's what it's going to be. Anything y'all pass because of this incident will be stupid legislation. And for all you people that don't like guns, if you don't like it, you ain't going to watch this channel. Now that is my rant, folks, and I'm going to get off my high horse, but I told you we'd talk about this at a later time. Well, I've addressed my piece. I've said my piece. My heart goes out to the families. It's like I said, especially the Ohio shooter's family, because that family's got to deal with the fact that the shooter was their son that killed their daughter, and then he himself was killed. They have to bury two. And I can only imagine what they're going through. Not to mention all the other families. Now, I think the El Paso shooter they arrested and let him face everything in the legal system. And if it's found that he wasn't mentally ill and he just is what they say he is, may justice come swift. But if you love your country, folks, and you love your freedom, you need to let your politicians know that any stupid legislation they're proposing to pass to restrict the ownership, possession, purchase, and the carrying of legally owned firearms, you need to let your legislators know ASAP what you think. Now, is that going to change their mind? Probably not, because if they're in Washington, D.C., they're worthless anyway. Yeah, there you go. I said it. They're worthless anyway. Especially if they've been up there more than one term. Now, I want you to think about this for a minute. In your area, if your area has not improved and you've got the same representative in Congress that's been there for more than one term and things in your area ain't got better, you got a worthless politician on your hands. And let's think about that for a second. They come around every election cycle wanting you to vote for them. If you cast a vote for them, but if now things are changing in your area for the better, then yeah, by all means, try to keep that person in or someone like them. Personally, I think there needs to be an amendment in the Constitution that enacts term limits to representatives and senators. For representatives, no more than 3 terms. For senators, no more than 2. And get rid of some of these career politicians. Get some fresh ideas up there, and people are not afraid to shake things up a little bit and make things happen. Yeah. But again, very tragic what has happened. I'm not taking away from the tragedy of what has happened. But to make a blanket statement that we need to institute red flag laws, well, again, that's a violation of the 4th Amendment of the Constitution. In the most extreme cases, again, I would still say there needs to be viable, legitimate proof that the person that has the firearms intends to do harm to others in an illegal manner. But because your neighbor complained, or your neighbor doesn't like you, and they make up something, because that's the other thing I want to see. If they're going to pass these stupid red flag laws, I want to see laws passed that if you call in a false report, you suffer the same as the person you're calling in. You lose your right to bear and own firearms. You go to jail for issuing a false report. Yeah, folks, this video's taking a long time. I didn't mean to ramble on so much, but I'm just PO'd right now. I really am. And some people I've had respect for, coming out now wanting to trample on our constitutional rights. I'm just a little disappointed in them. Y'all have a good and wonderful evening. Tomorrow we'll have a little bit brighter video, I hope. Okay. God bless. Take care. Soul Soldier out.